Hello guys, in this video I'm gonna explain step by step of how to build a custom data analytical dashboard that delivers insights, revenue and profit for the specific end user, and it's 100% adopted by that specific end user. And also in this video, if you stay to the end, you're gonna be able to get the exact analytical toolkit that we are giving away, meaning you're gonna get the exact templates, the existing wireframes, the existing pre-built dashboards already built in, the cheat sheet how to build and visualize the data correctly, and the elements of how to conduct and the exact step that you need to go from literally no dashboard to a very functioning dashboard in just literally following these few steps. And not just any ordinary dashboard, but the dashboard that actually delivers the value for the exact end user, right? Now, why should you even trust me? Well, basically, I've been doing this for quite a while, and my team as well. We've been generating for companies over plus 15, 20, I don't know how much by now, but million, just by bridging the gap between business and data, implementing BI, custom data analytical solutions, dashboards, basically just trying and helping companies increase their data maturity, utilize data more effectively so they're able to scale and hit their current goals and priorities, right? Here's one example where we work with. They were facing the normal challenges as dispersed data sources, depending on the off-the-shelf tools, unable to extract insights and actionable insights on their data. They were just tracking historical metrics, nothing special. And fast forward around 12 months, they were able to generate way over plus 10 million in sales just by gaining insights into their sales department, marketing department, and having that analytical end-to-end ecosystem built and implemented inside of their organization. Here's also proof from the founder and CEO, Alan Million, and here's some more testimonials and reviews from other people. You can check down them out a little bit more in below. Now, so here's some of our work that we already developed. Analytical dashboards. Our dashboards are very known and analytical solutions for very nice UX and UI, and that we hold for highest adoption rate, meaning we are very, very meticulous and particular focused to achieving the highest adoption rate, meaning 100% on nothing, right? That's our goal, meaning the adoption rate we know that is only achieved if it delivers the value, the insights, because data is measured, okay, how effective the data is by how many decisions and actions it helps you. Now, here are some of the solutions. Down below are some of the demos. Let's say for this one, I can just quickly look. You can now check them down below more in detail. Now, problem with custom data analytical dashboards, right? Many organizations are drowning in data. They're sitting all gold, but they're not doing anything with it. They're just using it for basic historical reporting purposes, tracking surface level metrics, and wonder why they do not deliver any ROI, right? And with Estella, we have the thesis that basically the data is only valuable by how many decisions and actions it produces, okay, forces you to take. And you've probably seen on the market, and probably maybe if you're following this, have mixed opinion about analytical dashboards, right? Some people don't believe in them. They try to build them, but they cannot make them work. Okay, they cannot make them valuable to actually produce longer term ROI. And because that, the majority of that, because they are treating it as a small project, okay, a plug and play solution with a very short term mindset oriented, right? They are thinking more about let's develop a dashboard rather than what's the problem and challenge that we are trying to solve and how we can solve this with data analytics, right? Basically, they go in a reverse. They start with the solution, but in reality, they should start with a problem, as any other basic product in this world should start, right? And here's some of the major reasons why these analytical projects solutions fail. Basically, the biggest one is no insights, no application, no action, meaning data analysts are very lazy. People who are building this are very lazy. Off-the-shelf tools are just not working. Because why? Because they don't provide you with insight. They don't provide you with actionable insights that you actually can apply right away, right any second, right? The majority of them just have the descriptive surface level metrics, and that's basically it. Don't get me wrong, that's good as well, but you need to see how data translates from basically throughout your whole company, from sales to marketing, product, and so on and so forth, so they're able to dissect and pinpoint bottlenecks and gain actionable insights that you wouldn't be able to do that before and you weren't aware of before, and can apply them aka ASAP. The second one is ad hoc requests. Basically, businesses and leaders and executives basically think this is an ad hoc request, meaning let's say build a dashboard and that's basically it. And the analyst or business developer or data engineer, analytics developer, they start building it, and it's to build a very, very effective analytical dashboard takes time, especially on the backend, the data architecture. And they're treating it as an ad hoc request, meaning that they're, okay, just let's spin up a dashboard like it's like a one plug and play thing that can be done in 5 seconds. Yeah, sure, but then you're going to end up with millions of dashboards with no use case and no relevancy and no insight. Basically, you're going to be spinning in circles, and people are going to be thinking, oh, yeah, we have dashboard, we are data driven, but you're not. You're simply not, because you have only descriptive data, and even that data might not be at highest data quality, might not be reliable, and the system changes again, the business, so there's fast-paced environment, so things change on a daily basis, and if it's not adapted, it won't work. Analysis paralysis, the third point, basically too many metrics, KPIs, just leaves with no clarity. And I think any executive seeing a bunch of KPI in a dashboard just lose interest in itself automatically. Fourth, complexity. If an business executive, they don't have technical skills, right? You cannot, you watching this, you're probably an executive, you're a CEO or maybe someone, you don't want to learn a new skill or how to use a dashboard, right? It shouldn't, because that was the point. You have a more important task to do. You should making decisions and actions of finding the insights, right? So majority of these solutions that are built either on market or analysts build them are very complex. And the fifth, waiting destroys patience. A lot of dashboards reports take way too long time to show, meaning they are, because of their large data set, or maybe even many elements on them, or many visuals, many features. They just take a long time to load, like 30 seconds. But in reality, we as a people, we are very short term and especially in today's economy, our brains are a little bit fried, if I can say, and we need to have this thing open in the first 2-4 seconds. Especially as an executive, you're constantly looking forward, you're constantly on a run, and you need to have the data ASAP now. You cannot be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you that in a week. That's way too long, right? And the sixth, lack of trust, meaning the executives need to know that data is 100% accurate, right? They need to know that. That's why some of them just go inside the Excel and Google Sheet, because they don't trust the dashboard. And why do they don't trust the dashboard? Because every time they look at it, they don't know where the tables are from, they don't know how it's calculated, they don't know what's the schema, what's the formula and the definition of it. How do they calculate it? Maybe the analyst calculated in a different way, which they perceived, because there was no strategy about it, and they just lose trust. And rather than, and at the end, they don't even know how fast. Okay, was the latest term of refreshness? Meaning, when does the new data come in? Is that like the old data from the last week? Because I don't need the old data, right? And so on and so forth. You get the point. Now, the goal with custom analytical dashboards is basically to deliver, before I even start, custom analytical dashboards and solution 100% work and deliver immense ROI in 1000%, right? But they have to be built in a strategic way. I seen this, our company see this, we generated over plus 15 million with data analytics. And as you can see, I didn't mention dashboards and so on forth, because dashboards are the last part of all of this, right? Every single, like the majority of work we've done, every time we created analytical dashboards is in the back end, right? Imagine the iceberg. And on top of the iceberg, you have your analytical solutions like dashboards, LLMs, chatbots, whatever you want to use data for. And it's based the data on like predictive analytics, machine learning, etc. And that's like the front end, right? That's like to be honest, I can call it an easy part. The real part is the back, right? And even I'm not saying that this is easy and it can be done very, very easy, but because even if you do the above very wrong, it's not going to result in a higher ROI. But what I'm trying to say, that's like the last part. That's the pinnacle of trying to deliver ROI with data. And when you're trying to develop analytical custom dashboards, you need to think as a CEO and work as a product manager, meaning you wouldn't waste resources building a product where there is no demand, right? And here we have 5 categories where we very particularly are focused when building this. Strategy is everything. Where basically everything starts at challenges, goals, desires, priorities of your company and the end users, meaning that you need to have required expertise in commercial side and of course data analytical side, so you're able to bridge the gap between those two. Second things, you don't need metrics and need insights, meaning a lot of companies are sitting on metrics, descriptive data, KPIs, etc. and so forth, but that's not enough. In today's era, you need insights, actionable insights that you weren't aware of, that can take you and force you to act, right? Meaning the why, what happened, why did it happen, and how we can do the next. And of course, the third thing, which is the mostly forgot, what should I be aware of which I'm not. The third, accessibility, meaning actually crazy how many companies and users are spending hours of their day as an executive. Like when I say hours in a day, I mean like 20 hours plus a week minimum, trying to aggregate, pull, copy and paste, and combat with data all across the organization, trying to make it sense. That doesn't make sense. Just that's the reason why we have dashboards and other solutions. Longer term approach, many of them are treated as a short term projects ad hoc. That's why they don't work and they don't stay relevant and don't produce ROI. You need to have a programmatic, iterative approach, because products are constantly iterative and constantly need to adapt to your goals, needs, and priorities. That's why that's the only way the data will work, right? It has to adapt to your goals, needs, and priorities. And the fifth, trust, meaning that to have a trust in the dashboard, executive needs to know how it's calculated, the definitions, what's the definition's name. They need to see that what's the schema, what's the tables that it's pulling from, what's the data sources, what's the last time the data came in, when is it gonna come in the next time frame, and so on and so forth, right? You need to remove all of these frictions and their beliefs that they're constantly asking in their head when they're looking at the data, because especially executives, they're gonna see a metric going down and they're gonna be like, that's where maybe the data was incorrect. Even though the data can be 100% correct, their first thought is gonna be, yeah, data is incorrect. Right, you need to show them and remove that question out of their head automatically. Now, the first step, end users interview, meaning that to conduct this is conducting the data strategy part assessment, which is you need to cover challenges, pains, goals, and correct priority of overall of the company, and then you go through the department and to the end user level. Right, you can check down below a video. I'm gonna pull it up, the link it down below, and also I'm gonna attach it inside of this deck. The first step is to understand and list out who is going to be the end user of the data analytics, dashboards, and solutions. Meaning, for an example, you can, let's say you start with the marketing department, you can list out a CMO, head of marketing, maybe, marketing analyst, let's say. You need to ask the particular questions. Let's say for department phase, meaning at the start you should already conducted overall companies of the organizations, goals, priorities, challenges of overall of the organizations. If you're a CEO, ask yourself. If you're not a CEO, you should ask and do this with the CEO or the founder, okay, anybody on the executive board. Then you go into the department, and let's say you started the marketing. You need to ask what are your department processes? How do you operate? Do we have a mapped out flowchart, like a business process mapping, meaning all the processes mapped so we know how this works? What data sources are you using? What tools or technologies are you using? And so on and so forth. Basically, this is the department phase. Now the end user phase. Let's say you are interviewing the CMO. What we would do in this case. You would ask CMO what business questions you want to have it answered. How do you currently answer it? Please share any existing old reports that you're currently using so we are able to compare the data. What is the problem with current way of answering it? We are able to identify the data quality. What is the desired way of answering it? Can you rely on data? What do you want to have it answered? What are the benchmarking criteria, meaning what is good or bad? Let's say what is a good cost per lead? What is the bad cost per lead? What actions can you take based on the benchmarking criteria? You need to be very careful when asking this, meaning they need to answer this in a very particular manner, meaning very, very articulated. Because if they can't answer it, that's a surface level metric and you should include it in an analytical dashboard. What time frames do you need it? Do you need it since 2023, since 2022? Why? And so on and so forth. What are the definitions of business questions and names? What are the formulas? Meaning how do you want to calculate, let's say, ROAS, ad spend, cost per lead, attribution, and so on and so forth. What frequency this information you need to have it answered, weekly, once a day. What's the priority of that business question, right? Basically, you can set this aside, meaning you can set this not by asking them, but you will understand by answering all of these questions, you will be able to assign the priority and the business value. Feasibility phase, answer this yourself, meaning what data sources are affected and need to fix, what is wrong with the data that not being reliable, what other metrics are affected, and what other existing data pipelines are affected, meaning after answering and interviewing the executive, you're able to answer this yourself. Okay, how hard is going to be for us as an analyst, engineer, or whatever it is. So if you're trying to build this as yourself, to get this business question, okay, a metric answered. And why we list them as a business question? Because it's much more easier to ask a CEO. If you ask a CEO, let's say if you are a CEO watching this, and I'm telling you what metrics do you want to track, they're going to be confused because they don't know what's the possibilities. But if I ask them what business questions you want to answer, they're going to have a bunch of ideas, right? Now, step 1.3, prioritize. Basically, by now you need to have listed all the business questions, rank them based prioritize them based on business value and feasibility. Agreed on the definitions and names. Now, if you don't know what is basically business value and feasibility, is a prioritization metrics, which I can, let's say, I will look them up in later. I'm gonna attach them here in the document. Type 2 dashboards. That's the second step. You need to understand what type dashboards are you building. This is going to help us to prevent building multiple irrelevant dashboards and cluttering them with a bunch of metrics and insights. Important thing is to know that doesn't mean you need to have multiple dashboards. No, try to keep it as small as possible. You don't need a lot of dashboards. Don't do that. You can also use them as they don't need to be a separate entity. You can use them as a view, right? If you are building a marketing dashboard, you can have multiple views under one. So it's much more easier to navigate. And I'm not going to read this through, but you're able here to decide what dashboards you need, either operational, which are mainly used for day-to-day to be able to perform a task, tactical, strategic, and analytical. Majority of you guys, especially for executives, are going to be needing analytical, strategic, and potentially even tactical, right? What is the difference between operational and tactical? Just for a quick definition's sake, tactical is more for one specific area. Let's say you're in the marketing and you just want to see email marketing, just one specific area, or you want to see retention. You just want to see retention. I want to see LTV to CAC retention cohorts. I just want to see that, right? Nothing else, right? Operational would be something that a specific subject matter expert in that department, let's say, I don't know, email marketer in the marketing department, would use. Let's say a marketing and email marketing dashboard, for an example. Let's say they have newsletters from a bunch of sources or whatever it is. And majority, that's why I always say majority of you are gonna building this free. Operational dashboards majority of them are already in the existing softwares because they don't require multiple data sources being combined, right? Some of them, of course, do, especially do we have worked with them, but majority of the times that's the case, right? Designing the dashboard. Now you need to think as a CEO in basically you wouldn't sell something that the market doesn't want, right? In the next step, you're going to develop the prototype before starting the real development. You can utilize tools like Figma to build a wireframe and analytical solution dashboard. You can utilize things like Miro, Lucidchart, Flowchart, or even a piece of paper to build a wireframe, right? You don't need to complicate it. The second step, the next step that we're going to do, basically going to lay out the layout template, wireframing, feedback, and audit. That's the next steps. Now the layout. To start the development, we're going to understand three concepts of free layer concept and Z view concept. Z pattern is basically how end user is going to perceive and scan the solution, as you can see here as a letter Z. And is a pattern that end users basically can scan the solution and can get the information in the first 5 seconds, which is the most important thing. The first layer is the concept that we have the top North Star priority metrics, most priority metrics in the top. These are things like slicers, navigational menu, and top priority metrics. The charts and the insights are in the second layer, and the third layer I added information to the charts and the top priority information, meaning things like tables and other visuals, insights, etc. and so forth. There is also another concept called F pattern, which is basically as an F, which is also one way that users like to scan the dashboards in any solution, right? But why this is important, because every single user, like in this example, if we look at this dashboard that we built, I'm automatically able to literally scan it, and in the first 5 seconds I already know, okay, this is sales, revenue, ROAS, okay, finance, and I'm a CEO and I understand this stuff because it's built basically for me. Okay, good, I understand everything. I don't need, there's no deep learning curve, right? And basically this is very important. The second step is designing the dashboard. In the interview stage, you need to uncover what and how they are using the data. Are they using it on mobile, desktop, laptop? When are they using data? Are they using it when they're on their own home? Are they on site? Because if they're on site, they are probably using it on tablet or maybe even on mobile. Let's say if they are a salesperson on off site, or they're in a manufacturing department, operational, they are probably using it on phone or maybe even tablet, right? But majority of them are going to be using it on laptop or PC. Utilize down below these criteria, right? And here's the key tips that you need to follow. Basically, the Z pattern, F pattern, utilizing the free layout approach, leave wide and equal gaps between elements. Utilize 3-4 colors max. You can utilize more, but I don't recommend. Basically, you can utilize brand colors, but keep it simple as white and dark background. Second color is for added elements as outlines. Let's say this as outline of the element. The third color is chart and visualization, and the fourth is for pointing key parts so users can focus. Meaning, if you have a visual and you have, let's say, actionable insights, basically our text where the insights are shown. Let's say, okay, the profit dropped because of that. Why is it basically a notification section in the dashboard, so the user can see and read actionable insights they need to be aware of. You can, let's say, point that out in a red color, for example, because there's a key thing, right? Group related metrics. Basically, you don't want to have, I don't know, marketing, sales, finance all across. Don't make sure you group every single one of them. That makes in a storytelling way. When I say storytelling way, I mean it's like a cohesive way that everything that you look at, you understand it. There is no confusion. Don't overcrowd an analytical dashboard. If you cannot fit everything, just create a new page. All interactive elements have to be visible that they are interactive. Don't expect end user to search for it, because that is gonna they need a new learning curve, right? Pick correct data visualization techniques and make sure that there is a context for each element, meaning every single element has to have a use case. If it doesn't, it's going to be irrelevant. It's going to lose adoption, overall adoption of the analytical dashboard, right? Don't put stuff because they look nice and they're unnecessary. Don't do that, please. Wireframing, basically here you have, just to conduct a wireframe, basically you have you can go very broad with it, or you can go very, very simple with it. I always recommend at the start to go very, very macro, and then after you gain the feedback of the end user, you can go very, very in depth. And you need to make sure that you are building this in Figma, as I said, or any other tool. Each element I like to write, basically I like to build it in this way. Basically it's a name, who are we building for and what type of the dashboard. And for every single row or every single element, I like to write what it is, what answers does it give us, and interactive elements like slicers, features, buttons, I color it red. Meaning, as you can see here, this is a button action. Okay, that means it's like an interactive element. Okay, calendar action, right? Or let's say navigation, let me give this top priority metrics, let's say this one, purpose, and answers that it gives me, right? And basically, what answer does it give you? You can also list out business questions, metrics, so you're able to cross them out when you're building this. Literally go one by one, and you can literally write them down. Okay, this element answers me this, and this is also going to keep you on track that every single element has a purpose in there. It's not irrelevant. Every single thing has a purpose in there, right? And keep it simple. Keep in mind end user experience. It has to be pleasantable to use, right? Step 3 to 4, feedback and final wireframe. You should, once you have the macro version of the wireframe, you should gain feedback of the end user, talk with them, go over the wireframe, explain each element, purpose and question it answers, filters and buttons and other interactive elements, layout and UX, trust factor, definitions of formulas, meaning just go over the exact wireframe that you have. They will probably have some suggestions, and then you can iterate and build the final wireframe more in depth. Basically, for every single element that there is, you need to have it write down what questions it answers, the purpose of it, and of course map out the exact actions of the interactive elements that it does. If they need to click somewhere else, somewhere on a certain button, is that like noticeable that's a button, and so on and so forth. Free analytical dashboard. Basically, we're going to give a toolkit, as I said on the start. You're going to get the exact steps to take when building a custom data analytical dashboard, as in recording this document. Data visualization cheat sheet to understand how to visualize the data. Over 35 data visualization elements, which you can drag and drop in wireframe. Multiple pre-made wireframe and pre-made analytical dashboards, and wireframe template to gain a head start. You're going to get that all for free, just down below. Click down the link down below. Step 5, development. Now you can copy and paste that in a wireframe, make that existing wireframe in a BI tool, either that be Power BI, Looker, or whatever tool you're utilizing, Tableau. You should conduct that way before in the data strategy part. You need to connect your data warehouse to source to BI tool. Your B layer should be already created. Semantic layer, create a data model if you're utilizing Power BI. Metrics should be already calculated inside of the data warehouse to prevent any misalignment. And interactive elements are done the last step, right? And if you're exporting certain elements from Figma as icons or anything else, make sure to utilize the export for small elements at around 5 to 12 pixel, and for bigger elements 1 pixel. Now, step point 5, key elements to not forget. Trust is everything, as I said. Many users lose faith in the dashboard not being relevant and accurate. That doesn't mean the data is inaccurate from technical standpoint. Potential users just need to understand how to gain the end number, what formula we used, what tables we used, what source we used, when is the last time we refreshed this, is it old, is it new data. These are all the questions that's going throughout their head when they are using your solution. And you need to prevent them to get that inside of their head, to basically, because they're going to see a metric going down and they're going to be like, oh, the dashboard is inaccurate. In reality, it's not, right? But you need to remove all the barriers. And here's an example how we do this. Every single element has a hover effect or a button effect. They're able to click on it or hover it, and they're able to see the exact definition, the formulas, the tables they used. On the information button, they're able also to see when is their last time to refresh, and when is the new time to refresh, meaning, okay, in the next 5 minutes, it's going to come new batch, okay, new data is going to come in, and it's going to refresh. They're able to see that, and they're going to be like, wow, it is amazing. You can also have documentation and links, okay, embedded or okay, buttons to be redirected to that business glossary, so you're able to see and the exact definitions more clear in more cohesive and table way if they want to see it. Final checklist. Now, before even deploying it to the end user, need to go, and this is an alpha version, right? Alpha version is basically, let me click on it. Alpha version is the first working version of the analytical solution. We work in iterative cycles, so this is extremely important, meaning this is an MVP, right? The real value is going to come after we build this on and on and on, right? So before you deploy it to the end users, you need to go through all of this checklist, literally all of it. I'm not going to read it through, but this is all the checklist that you need to go through. From the business questions, does it answer every single question? Does it answer the following questions? Are we doing good or bad? How good or bad? Why it happened? What should I be aware of? Does each element have a purpose? Data visualization techniques. Are we using correct chart and types? Key elements, information about the latest updates seen. Each metric, formula, table, data source is visible. Functionality, taxing, filters, dynamic data ranges are working. Design and layout. Data quality, data is 100% accurate versus the accurate one, meaning you need to compare it if you have the data already, a set of batch of accurate data already inside of the data warehouse. This should be already done, but you need to also compare it from the dashboard to the data warehouse. And I'm assuming that in the data warehouse you have the data already accurate. If not, you need to go back and fix that first before even thinking into building a dashboard. Do you have data quality checks applied, like notifications if in case of data update failure or if there is a new inaccuracy? Confirm the data refresher schedules, meaning the real-time or batch updates are coming in and when they are coming in. Data privacy, performance is dashboard loading in the first 8 seconds. I prefer before in the first 3 seconds, if I'm being honest. And of course, there are direct links to the other dashboards, other reports, because they're going to have questions to the other reports. Are they to have directs and buttons for business glossary, other governance documentation, and so on and so forth. 7, deployment. Remember, this is the alpha version of the analytical dashboard. Every analytical solution you are building is building in an iterative approach. When deploying, make sure you have a feedback meetings. We are recommending every meeting to have once a week to provide the feedback of the end users. Basically, at the start, you should have very, very tight collaboration with the end user. Best way is to have frequent meeting every week at least, and of course support in the chat. That's just because to see if anything new is happening in the company, their goals, needs, and priorities are changing, to see if any processes are changing inside of the data sources you're aware of and alerted before. The second step, and of course to see and gain feedback, so you're able to iterate fast before you're reaching product maturity. Second one is optional. You can use also monitor usage, like are they using it, logins, and so on and forth. But to be honest, that's quite irrelevant, because data is only valuable how many decisions and actions it forces. If they're using it every day, yeah, of course, it's probably delivering the value, but you should be hearing that from your end user in a quantifiable way. 8, product maturity stage, meaning our goal is to deliver an analytical dashboard solution that enables end users with actionable insights to resolve better decisions and actions directly impact company's result. Only way to achieve this is with constant iterative approach, because data has only to work with if it's custom to your goals and needs at any stage. And you need to, the alpha version is working version that users can use, so you're able to receive feedback and improve until we reach what we call product maturity. Product maturity is a stage where after multiple iterations and feedbacks from the end users, we're able to reach a pinnacle, aka nirvana, what we call. Imagine like a graph going up and then just like stays. And you go slightly up, slightly up, slightly up. Basically, there is no magnificent increases, right? It's much more steady and goes in an upward trend. It's not that volatile anymore, right? And once we reach that pinnacle, nirvana, I should call this nirvana to be honest, where there is 100% adoption, value is seen, communicated, and presented in a quantifiable manner from the end user, and after that there is no major iterations conducted, or I should say also, and users would hate if solution would disappear. This is a very great way to know, because let's say one time we had an analytical dashboard and something was wrong, I think with the tool, something went off, I think with the data warehouse or anything, and they couldn't access it, and they freaked out. And that's a good and bad way, but we are able to see how important it was for them. Like rates was very important for them because they were using it obsessively, and why they were using it obsessively, because it was delivering the value. Now, conclusion: end users interview is the most important thing. Define the dashboard types, design the wireframes, develop dashboards, testing and validations, and deployment and feedback. Our offers: if you want to build a custom data analytical ecosystem with analytical dashboards as here that deliver results, actionable insights that can be seen before an actual value in terms of profit, revenue, retention, and to hit your top priority goals and to gain you an edge in your marketplace, you can book a call with our exploration team down below. And you can also gain a toolkit, data analytical dashboard toolkit. Just click the first link below and you're gonna get it ASAP. Bye.